Fantastic, fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the new wellbeing program across Derby. As you saw at the bottom of the screen there, welcome to the revolution. My name is Sanj from the Art of Brilliance, and today we're going to introduce you to what is Brilliant Derby. You'll be watching this on Blue Monday. Happy Blue Monday, of course. And you might be thinking, why on earth on Blue Monday, the most depressing day of the year officially, is there a webinar by a bloke in a happy t-shirt and soon to be joined by another bloke from Derby in a happy t-shirt? Okay, we're going to distill all of these myths with you right here today, this afternoon, or this evening, or whenever you watch this on the internet. What I want to do right now is introduce the man of Derby himself to share more about what this Brilliant Derby is, because Brilliant Derby is an opportunity for you at home right now, for you to improve yourself, to join the New Year's revolution of prioritizing your mental health and your well-being. So, without further ado, my guest, special guest of the day, are you there, sir?
I am Sanj. I'm waving. Yes, yes. How you doing, sir? On Blue Monday, how's Blue Monday treating you, Sanj?
Yes, all right. This, as you can see through my jacket, Mr. Cope, this is as blue as I've got this Monday so far. So, dressed for the occasion. But bit of context, Andy. What is Blue Monday? You know, what does Blue Monday mean to you?
Blue Monday is a habit that we're getting into. Is talking ourselves into being on a bit of a downer again, isn't it, Sanj? And Blue Monday is your classic where the bills arrive and the weather's not great and we haven't got any holidays booked. So what we thought we'd do in terms of revolution, I know you've mentioned the word already, is that what we're trying to do with Brilliant Derby is do things differently, Sanj. So we thought it'd be really interesting to launch the world's biggest happiness project across the world's greatest city on the most depressing day of the year. Just because.
Just because, and again, if anything 2020 has taught us, is just because is a perfectly valid reason today. So, firstly, Dr. Andy Cope, saw your name pop up on the screen there. What is Brilliant Derby?
Okay, Brilliant Derby, Sanj. We'll come back to the revolution word. I'm going to overuse that word a lot. Can I start, Sanj, by telling you what it isn't, all right? Because I don't know, people will be logging on and watching this whenever. Let me say what it isn't first, because it's really important that we get the context right. So Brilliant Derby isn't therapy and it isn't counselling. It is based on the science of happiness and the science of well-being, but we're not trying to replace all the good stuff going on for people who are really struggling out there. Those therapies and counselling, that will continue. This isn't that. Also, and let's dispel this one, it's got very little to do with Derby City Council. All right, so I don't work for the council, you don't work for the council. The vast majority of people presenting on Brilliant Derby have got nothing to do with the council. What Derby City Council have done is give us the permission and the encouragement to do things a little bit different. All right, so, and it's about rising stronger. It's about the understanding that 2020 has been a really tough year for everybody. And what we want to do is set people up for 2021 to be a whole lot better, is to give people a chance to take charge of their own well-being. But it's not run by the council. The council are not telling me what to do. They're just trusting me to, for now, spearhead a program that makes a difference. Thirdly, Sanj, what it is kind of a citywide program. It's never been done before. I see it as ultimately it is a program of well-being run for the people of Derby by the people of Derby. Okay, so I think going forward we'll have guest speakers. We'll be talking about happiness and positivity and strengths and community and purpose and gratitude and mindfulness, lessons and top tips on how to feel great. And the other one, I think also what it isn't, it's not political. And once again, this is crucial for me. I'm not a political animal. The bottom line, ladies and gents, is if you're waiting for the government or the city council, if your happiness is, if you're waiting for them to make you happy, then you're doomed, aren't you? All right. So it is their job to create a city with potential. It is their job to create an environment in which we can flourish. But to fulfill that potential and to make Derby the best place to live and the best place to work and the best place to be in a community and the best place to get educated, then we've got to take some responsibility for that. That's not me and you, Sanj. That's the population out there have got to take responsibility for that. And just let me get through a couple of notes. Also, what it isn't. I'll tell you what it is in a minute, but what it is, it's not a quick fix. Right? It's not a one-hit wonder. We've got a program that will be revealed over the next 12 months. And it's also not academic. All right, so it's not got any big words in it. This is based on real, simple, basic, doable, no-nonsense top tips on how to feel good when the world is knocking it out of us. And the other one I need to mention very quickly, because I know that I've got to develop a thick skin as being one of the presenters and one of the people who are leading on this project. It's not a Dr. Andy get rich quick scheme. It's not a Sanj get rich quick scheme. All right, we haven't received any payment. We haven't asked for any payment. Most of the people delivering on this are volunteers behind the scenes. So I think that's really important as well, that we're doing this for the right reasons. And the final thing that it isn't, Sanj, before we cover what it is, it's probably not for everyone. And I need to just acknowledge the fact that there will be a small percentage of the population in my glorious city that will put the boot into this program. Right? There's always going to be a small minority of people. Wherever you're watching this video, if you scroll down through the comments already, there'll be people having a go at it, having a pop at it. There's the angry people. It's not really for them. All right. Now, the fact is, if you're criticizing a program that's from the heart, that's meant to improve the well-being of your entire city, if you're in a position to have a go at that program, then you're probably just an angry person that's angry with the world. Right. The truth is, if you keep an open mind, we welcome everybody. You will benefit hugely from this program. What the program is aimed at is about the 80%, 90% of wonderful people out there who are just worn out, Sanj. You know, this is Blue Monday. We've been in the pandemic for nearly a year. People are just exhausted. And this is essentially about when the world's doing its worst, and which is the world is really doing its worst at the moment. And there's a lot of people genuinely struggling. This is about trying to put a smile on your face and a spring in your step, so that when the world does its worst, that we might bend, but we don't have to break. All right. So there you go, Sanj. In a nutshell, that's exactly what Brilliant Derby isn't.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for that, Andy. I think it's really important for, for me listening to this again, and, imagine myself at home, listening to you this afternoon and just thinking, before we even go into what it is, it's important to know what it isn't. Context is so important for everything that everybody does, but especially for a happiness program, especially for a program on well-being, on happiness for the whole population of Derby. It's important to know what it isn't. Next question I have for you, Andy, is you mentioned the lack of science. You mentioned that it's not a political agenda, and you mentioned that we will be driving this. Who is we, and who are you, with your happy T-shirt on, to deliver this? Because I don't know who you are.
Who the heck am I, and how did I find myself in this position? That's a very good question, Sand. Right? I mean, it sounds a bit cheesy, my friend, but I've spent the last 15 years researching a subject called positive psychology, which is essentially the science of happiness and the science of human flourishing. So while the rest of the psychological profession have been looking at what's wrong with people, what I decided to do at Loughborough was seek out, all of us can think of a handful of people in our life who've got something extra, some happiness, some passion, some positivity, a smile on their face. And what science has really ignored for about 150 years is that handful of people. So at Loughborough Uni, I set out to seek, it sounds ridiculous really, but I set out to do the opposite of what science has always done. I set out to find the happy people, work out three things that we're going to be sharing in Brilliant Derby. First of all, who the heck are they? Secondly, what are they doing that allows them to flourish? And thirdly, most importantly, is what can we then learn from people who are already happy so that we can put those strategies into place in our life so we can be happy as well. And Sam's right, I've got a PhD, so I'm actually a doctor of happiness. It took me 12 years to write this horrifically long-winded academic document that's crammed with 130,000 academic words. Brilliant Derby, Sanj, good news, it's not that either. But it's based on evidence. It's based on things that we can learn. But if you take the big words out of this and you replace them with some doable principles, a bit of humour and a bit of real stuff, then that's what Brilliant Derby is. It's translatable. And we've mentioned the word revolution about 3 or 4 times already. Let me mention it one last time, right? Because most of the revolutions in history are about people making radical change and losing their heads. And this isn't a revolution where you have to make placards and grab a pitchfork and go and march to Parliament. It's what I call it a quiet revolution, Sanj. It's a revolution that starts in your own mind, in your own heart, in your own thinking. And nobody will notice except you in the interim. But once you get it and you step into being your best self on a more consistent basis, here's the thing, Sanj, that leaks out of you, and your positivity creates a ripple in your family, in your friends, in your work colleagues. And that's what we're trying to do, is not just a ripple, but a tsunami of positivity and well-being across our great city.
Love it. Love it. And again, if you've got your ear close to the ground at these times, there's a lot of people who are genuinely struggling. There's a lot of people who, like you said, are a bit fed up of what's going on. And the first thing they want to do is help their colleagues, is help their loved ones, is help themselves. So this is definitely a place where they can learn how to do that for themselves first. And then, like you said, it will leak out of them and into those around them. Okay, I'm liking the sound of this. I'm liking the sound of this. I'm liking the direction this is going. So thanks for the clarification. Next, okay, I'm going to poke you a little bit more up, friendly Cope. And again, if I'm sitting in my couch right now watching this on my iPad, what can I do to support this movement? Okay, if I'm a little bit curious, if I like the sound of this, like where it's going, I like the subject, I like the intention. What can I do at home or with my colleagues? What can I do to support this movement?
Okay, it's a great question. It's a very short answer on that one, Sanj. A revolution, right? It needs followers. It needs people who get behind it with the right attitude and the right spirit. This is the introduction, right? So all the rest of the Brilliant Derby things that are going to go out live won't be quite like this. There'll be more lessons in it. There'll be more top tips in it. This is just setting the scene. But if you like, as you say, if you like kind of what we're trying to do, and at least give us credit to either we're trying to change the city or we'll die trying. This might be me dying trying, I don't know. But if you can get behind us and support us, that's all we ask at the moment. And we're hoping to build, it's going to have to be online for now. So this is Blue Monday. We're in lockdown. We've got no choice now but to beam this out to schools and businesses and communities. Whoever wants to listen is to beam a series of lessons out live every week during lockdown. But I see it, Sanj, that it grows when we are unlocked, maybe in the spring and the summer and the autumn. Then the people of Derby we can train them up to be kind of almost like wellbeing ninjas. This eventually Brilliant Derby, there's nothing stopping it being in your church hall or your school hall or your community hall, where citizens of Derby are running wellbeing classes for their neighbourhoods. And that it's never been tried anywhere before, Sanj. That's why it's a revolution. It's bold, it's exciting, it's got the potential to crash and burn like all revolutions. But at least let's give it a good go. So the best thing you can do right now to support us is to say nice things about us behind our back.
I'm not used to that, Andy, saying nice things behind other people's back. That's the opposite of what I do usually, okay? You're asking me to do stuff
problem,
I've
Sam.
never
We're
done
going to change
before.
that in Derby, my friend. We're going to change that.
Okay, fine. One last question for you then today, Andy, is again, I understand a little bit more about what it is. I understand the intention. I understand a little bit about what you've done and what you plan to do. I also understand that I can support this by sharing good things and being open-minded to this. But again, I'm sitting on my sofa. What can I actually do? Give me something practical. Okay, you showed me your PhD. Great. Yeah, fantastic. Share with me something from it that I can do from now so that I can say nice things behind your back. Give me something practical. Give me something to take
Nice,
away.
Sanj. You are born to present this, mate. Yes, absolutely brilliant question. Sanj, can I bypass it slightly? Can I give you my epiphany moment? I'm going to give the good people of Derby my epiphany moment, and then I'm going to give them some homework, all right? Some happiness homework, which is a top tip, but slightly counterintuitive. So, folks, just hang in there with me just for a second, right? So I've spent 15 years researching happy people, seeking happy people out, following them around, working out why they're so happy, and then learning to do that myself, right? And then this is about beginning to share that. And if you get it, you pass it on, it creates a ripple. But my epiphany moment happened about 8 years ago. And I don't know if you ever had a moment of where the angels sing to you and life becomes clear in a single second, in a moment. I think it's supposed to happen in church. Mine happened in Tesco's in Ashby de la Zouch, just outside Derbyshire, actually, on the M42. Some of you will know it, right? So about 8 years ago, it's a normal Saturday. I'm randomly doing my shopping like you would normally do. And I had this blinding flash of inspiration in Tesco's, or realization or epiphany. I don't know what it was, but I realized all of a sudden that wherever I go, I'm there. Right. Now, I know that's obvious, and you're all thinking, oh, yeah, what is he, some sort of idiot? It's obvious. I already knew that. I had an understanding that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in Tesco's in Ashby. That is amazing. And then I got through the checkout and I was driving home in my car going, oh my gosh, I'm actually in my actual car driving home from Tesco's. And I got my house, putting my groceries away in my actual kitchen. So my point, ladies and gents, is that my epiphany moment was a realization that I can't get away from me. Right, so I'm trapped with me for a lifetime. Right? Every single heartbeat of my entire life, I'm stuck with me. I mean, I could put my trainers on and run down St. Peter Street, but I'm still stuck with me, and you're stuck with you. And therefore, really where I'm coming from with this is my realization is if I can't get away from me and I've got a lifetime trapped with me, then all of a sudden it made perfect sense. I may as well be stuck with a version of me that I'm proud of. Or I may as well be stuck with a version of me that's got a smile on his face and a spring in his step and some optimism and some hope and some positivity and some confidence, rather than the version of me previously that I didn't have a lot of that because I didn't know this then. Everybody watching this, you're stuck with you. But I think that the new normal gives us a fantastic opportunity to upgrade ourselves to best possible self. And then what I've realized, Sanji, is that I can't change the world. I can't do anything about lockdown. I can't control COVID. I can't control Brexit. I can't control the weather. I can't make the buses run on time. But what positive psychology and hopefully what Brilliant Derby does give me, it will be a little bit more control over me. Right? If I to best possible self, it won't change the world, but it'll change my world. Right? And if it can change my world just enough so I'm better able to deal with the world as it is, I'm better able to deal with Brexit and the weather and the buses, and then that's worthwhile. Okay, so that's what we're looking to do. So my epiphany moment was, I can't get away from me. So if we all upgraded across Derby to be best possible self, imagine the vibrancy and the aliveness of our great city. Okay, so that's really where I'm coming from. That was the epiphany moment. And with that mind, Sanj, I was thinking about giving some top tips, but I think we'll save those for when the program gets started properly, when we do the science bit and we can lead into some top tips. I'm going to do it in a counterintuitive way today. Have we got a special effects department? Have we got a DeLorean? Because what I was going to try and do is, we have, you see, oh my gosh, there was a little bit of budget behind the scenes somewhere, is what I'm asking everybody to do who's watching this is with an open mind. I want you to use your imaginations, okay? So rather than me giving you some top tips, I'm going to get you to give yourself some top tips, so bear with me. A DeLorean, right? So those who've seen Back to the Future know that's actually a time machine. So what I want you to do is bundle yourself into the time machine, set the coordinates for exactly 1 year from now, right? So Blue Monday 2022. So we're going to step out of the DeLorean exactly a year from today. You're going to step out of it into a year from today. And I want you to imagine that 2021 it's been epic, right? So your family life is amazing. Your work life is amazing. The city feels vibrant and alive. You feel healthy. You feel fit. You feel mentally recharged and refreshed. 2021, you took it by storm. It was just brilliant. It was the best year you've had by a country mile. So what I want you to think about is, how did 2021 become so epic? So what did you do today that made it the best year of your life? And I want you to think about and maybe write down 4 things, okay? 4 top tips that you would give to yourself at the end of the year that made your year so fantastic. And of those top tips, that would be 2 things that you started to do or did more of in 2021 that helped your well-being and your human flourishing, and 2 things that you stopped doing or did less of in 2021 that also help your well-being and your flourishing. All right, and that's a slightly weird thing to do, Sanj, but rather than me pontificate on session 1 without doing any of the science and nobody knows where we're coming from on this yet, we'll introduce that next time. So rather than taking my advice on how to live a brilliant life, is take your own advice. Do those 4 top tips. 2 things you're going to start doing or do more of in 2021, and 2 things you're going to stop doing or do less of in 2021. That is probably the most powerful advice, because that's advice from yourself to yourself.
Gosh, why did you say that, Andy? You made me get to a really uncomfortable place to be. So now I'm thinking, yeah, I wasn't expecting you to say that. So in my head, the first thing that came when you said, "What can I do more of?" and it was genuinely be kinder to the people that I live with. Cut them some slack, and be say good morning and good night, and just be a bit more, more of a positive source of energy in the house. And then the first thing that came to my head when you said maybe something I could stop doing or do less of was time on Facebook. Genuinely, time on Facebook is something I can definitely do less of. Deep down, I want to do it less. So yeah, that is until next time. That is what I'm definitely going to be focusing. So cheers for that, Andy.
Well, the thing is, Sam, it can be really simple stuff. That's the whole point, isn't it? This isn't rocket science. We're not trying to, I don't call it personal development. We're probably not going to teach anybody anything new. What we're trying to do on Brilliant Derby is remind you who you are at your best and inspire you to live up to that version of you more often. Sounds for me, let's finish with this, right? It boils down to me the difference between being alive and living. All right. So being alive requires a pulse and not much more. All right. Truly living requires that pulse to race a bit. It requires us to do things a little bit differently. It requires a degree of excitement, a degree of passion. The same passion that you have on a Friday afternoon, you need that on a Monday. And Brilliant Derby, I think, for the vast majority of people who enter into the spirit of it, will give them some top tips on how to do that.
Love it. Love it. Fantastic. Dr. Andy Cave, thank you so much. I'm Sanj, and we'll be seeing you again very, very soon. Until next time, happy Blue Monday, and see you soon.